Good afternoon, everybody. So glad you're here. Feeling super grateful to be here with you all, and thank you for joining me today. I hope everybody's having a beautiful, beautiful Sunday afternoon, and I'm just really grateful and excited to be here and share and finally get to put this experience, these experiences that I've had, and share them with other artists that want to have meaningful impact with their work, which I feel like after reading a lot of your responses and what you're doing and what you want to do, feel very aligned with everybody. And my intention is to give you guys some really valuable instructions, guidance, and steps to move forward with your work and connecting it to meaningful impact. So thank you all for being here. There's a foundational element that's necessary for this to work at its most optimized level, and it's something that I can't go through in 90 minutes, and that's essentially, it's built on this foundation of knowing your voice as an artist, and it's not something that I can help you excavate and discover in 90 minutes. So we're building from the foundation that you already have, a good idea of who you are as an artist and have that voice in place. And so if you want to know more about that and you want to discover that, we could talk about that. You can send me a message and I can help guide you through discovering your voice. But we're going to move from the foundation that everybody here has discovered their voice. And if you haven't, these are still very valuable skills and a very valuable and functional strategy. You'll just have much more success if you are doing all of this from your voice and your unique voice that only you have, that distinguishes you from other artists and other people doing similar things, because there's plenty of people playing music, plenty of people doing photography, plenty of people painting, singing, and creating art in different forms. So having that unique voice is what makes you stand out. And I'm sure you know it matters. It's underneath the work, underneath all of the work is that discovery. It's what makes us unique. It's what roots us to why we create art, and it's where we find the strength and the perseverance to push through all the obstacles and challenges that we have as artists. So my goal today is to provide you guys with an experience where you can imagine your work being focused and aligned with causes that matter to you, and to share and walk you through my thought process, how I approach making this happen, and deliver a document at the end that has 5 steps that you can follow to achieve this for yourself, if you're not already doing it, and achieve it in ways you maybe aren't doing it yet. So the overview, the flow for this evening will be, we're going to start with a question that I'm going to put in the chat, and it's just a quick, short answer, a couple sentences. I want you to respond, and then we will I'll review those and kind of just share some reflections from it. And then we're going to drop right into a writing exercise where you're going to have 8 minutes or so to write down something that's going to be foundational for the rest of the workshop today. And then I'm going to open it up for us to just discuss, and at that point have you guys asking questions, anything about how it works and how I do what I do, or anything that comes up from the writing prompt. From that point, that information will give me the ability to guide you through a walkthrough of the actual strategy development in action and how I would approach it and think about it. So it may call on one of you to share where you're at, what your art is, your response to the writing prompt. And from that, I will walk you through it as if that was me and what I would do, and you'll be able to take notes and you'll be able to jot down. And then for you artists who I'm not doing that for at that moment, you'll be able to see how another artist could approach that. And then I'll follow up with the actual 5 steps, concrete, and I'll walk you through that 5-step document, and we'll talk a little bit about that and answer questions. And then, we'll just kind of wrap it up with another Q&A and conversation where you guys can just share, where you're at, what your struggles are, how you could see it being challenging, applying any of the specific steps that I share with you. And and then we'll go from there. We'll close out, and the last thing will be for you guys to email me another response to something that I'll ask you. And when you email me that will help me tailor the introduction of the 5 steps to respond back to you and email those back to you within a couple of days after I've had a chance to review everybody. So that's the kind of flow that I'm anticipating for us today. And just, really grateful, really excited that I get to share this with you. So if you can see the chat, I just posted in the chat, and it says, tell me about a moment your art reached someone in a way you did not expect. Just a couple of sentences. It doesn't have to be elaborated along, but put that in the chat. So respond in the chat so I can see it. And then I will kind of share a little bit of what comes up for me and just maybe share some of my experiences. So tell me about a moment when your art reached someone in a way that you did not expect it to. Am I not seeing responses yet? Or you guys haven't put anything in there yet? Well, as you guys are thinking, when I released my album, Remembrance, back on my birthday in December of last year, I didn't expect it to impact people the way it has. And that was very beautiful experience to get testimonies from people that were sharing really deep, meaningful experiences that they had when listening to the music. And it was surprising. And those testimonials and the feedback that I got from people really reflected my deep down intentions. It kind of affirmed the intentions that I hadn't spoken out loud for myself, or I hadn't fully acknowledged, but it was deep in my heart that I wanted it to have that effect and impact on people. And it was just really beautiful to get that feedback and to get to hear that my music reached people in very specific ways. And it was really, really beautiful, and made my heart very warm and fuzzy, and definitely fueled my trajectory and motivated me to continue moving forward with releasing more and getting the word out about the existing album. So Sarah, thank you for sharing. So you were singing at a public park by the springs and guiding a meditation, and a woman happened by, and she had recently lost her son. She wasn't intending on being there that day, and in my singing, she received a message from him and felt God's presence. It was touching and beautiful to witness. Wow, that's beautiful. I love that. And that really, I resonate with that very much, because it was similar to some of the testimonials that I got. And it speaks to the power and beauty that reflect the gifts that we have, because we're unique, we are special, and there's a lot of artists, but there's more non-artists than there are artists, and we have a very unique, special gift that my perspective is that we have a responsibility to cultivate and nourish and use in service, and that's why I do what I do. And through that, the magic happens. Because I doubt you, Sarah, I doubt you went to the park that day and was like, I'm going to touch somebody's life and let them feel God's presence. And I mean, sure, maybe you did, but likely you weren't thinking that specific. And it happened. The magic happened. And that's what we have the capacity to do with our work. And it's way beyond us as individuals. And that's something that's important for us to always remember when we're wanting to impact the world, is that it's going to happen if we show up fully. And that's the key, is that we pour our heart and soul and our presence into the work, and then into the interactions with the people experiencing our work. Kelly, a widow recovering from loss of her husband and birth of her first grandchild within the same month, said the piece gave her a moment to reflect and accept how challenging the time had been for her. The piece made her feel strong and comforted for all she had walked through. Again, when people need it, when they're hurting, art has this magical capacity to heal. And you didn't think about that, right, Kelly, when you were creating the piece? Nope. It just happened, and people connect with it in ways that we could not possibly imagine. And that's the beauty of it. Susanna, my father had not expressed that he liked my art, yet after he died, I was in his office and found that he had framed the painting I had sent him for his last birthday and hung it up in his office. So beautiful. That's so meaningful. I bet that just blew you away, seeing that unexpectedly and realizing that your papa really actually appreciated it so much that he hung it up. And I bet that was so meaningful for him to get to see that every day, to see you in his office and to think about you as he was working. And it probably brought him a lot of peace and comfort knowing that his little girl was there, hanging on the wall right there, and the beautiful soul that you put into that. So my intention with sharing these is so that we can see for ourselves and recognize in each other that the art is already making an impact just by its creation. And it's easy for us to get caught up in like, oh, I'm not getting enough, engagement on social media, or, people are walking by my booth and they don't really look at my art that much. But really, the art itself is doing its work and it's having a powerful impact. And the key, and what I want to bring to you today, is to make it even more impactful and more focused and more strategically done, so that it's not happening by chance. It's not just happening in its little ways by itself. It will continue to do that. And when we focus and build a strategy, that exponentially grows. And now, because it's targeted, it's focused, and it's aligned with something, we're able to reach even more people. Because, for example, if you're at a art market and you have a little booth hanging up your art, people are just walking by, and maybe 5% are actual your people. They're actually your audience, the people that love that type of art and love the message behind it. And so you're only dealing with a 5% chance of capturing anybody. But if you align your art with people and objectives and missions and purposes that all are including the audience that loves your art, you're increasing that amount of impact, targeting directly the right people who are, that percentage of people increases. And there are people that will respond and will like your art and will engage with you and will likely purchase or be heavily inspired and moved by your work. Eric, one of the descendants of Lao Tzu, was the first person to buy the Sound of Tao meditation album that we made for Qigong community in Oakland. Wow, that's cool. That's pretty impressive to have a meditation album for Qigong and have a descendant of Lao Tzu purchase it. Wow, that's cool. If you could somehow frame that and put that on your wall, that'd be pretty epic. Like, yeah, Lao Tzu's great grandson bought my album. That's cool, man. Beautiful. And it obviously had to impact him because he wouldn't have picked it up otherwise. Chalk the Walk to Save the Monarchs gave out seeds. Years later, people still had the milkweed plants. Oh, that's a beautiful example. And that really speaks to what we're doing. We're planting seeds and they grow, and we don't even necessarily have to water them once they're planted, because somebody's taking them and planting them and they're watering them. And example of that is one of the people that really appreciated my album started using it in her healing practice. So she's a healer and a massage therapist and Reiki and these different modalities of bringing people healing. And she enjoyed it so much that she started having her patients listen to it while they were doing sessions. And then the patients were then saying like, oh my gosh, what's this music? This is amazing. It's moving things for me. And it's exactly like you're saying, Jen, is that seed got planted with that person who then is nourishing it, and it's growing and bearing fruits. And so you guys are getting it, and you're seeing that your work is impactful already, and it's already doing it. And my goal here today is to help you refine and optimize that so that it can do it even more. And really, at the end of the day, so that you can be honored for the work and the beauty that you're giving, because we also deserve to be living in abundance from this service. It shouldn't be, we got to give up, sacrifice our well-being, sacrifice the lifestyle and comfort that we want because we're artists, starving artist mentality, all that. It's nonsense. And really what the root of it is that we think in a way, we're very creative, but we often lack that formal strategy that, a business executive has. And that's all it is we need to bring that side of our brain in, use it creatively the way we already use our creative brain, but having a framework. And that's what I'll be sharing with you. Great. Well, so I'm gonna, this next section here, I'm gonna have you guys, and I'll put it in the chat, you're going to really dig deep for a minute and think about your work, and you're going to identify one organization or cause that matters to you. So, it could be, animal sanctuaries, it could be mental health, single mothers, marginalized communities, children, but be very clear and focused of like, what's one cause or movement that is really meaningful and matters to you. And if you were to pour your heart and soul into supporting one, what would it be? And then write a paragraph describing how your art could serve that mission. Now, this is imagination. This is creativity time. There's no like, well, I don't know. Well, I'm not asking what you know. I'm asking you to imagine how your expression, your creative art could directly align with and support the mission of the organization that you're thinking of. And what would you create or do to strengthen that support? And what would you kind of offer? And I know this is, new stuff for you. So I'm not expecting it to be perfect. What I want is for you to start exploring and thinking about that, because maybe you haven't, maybe you haven't. So I'm putting those in the chat now, and I want you to write this down in your journal, your notebook. While you guys are writing, I'm going to be here. I'm going to put some of my music on. There'll be visuals on the screen. Don't let them distract you. It's two of my pieces from my album and the accompanying music videos. But I find that they are very inspiring. So again, identify one organization or cause that matters the most to you. Write a paragraph describing how your specific art could serve their mission, and what would you create or do, okay? So that's in the chat now. And I want you to write this in your notebook. Don't worry about putting in the chat at this moment. We're gonna talk through them, and I'm gonna unmute you guys so that we can actually hear your voice and you can share what that was for those of you that are willing to. So I'm gonna start the music now, and let's see, is it screen sharing? And there we go. All right, so yeah, well, thank you for taking the time. I know it's challenging to think of those things because you're not used to it, and that's okay. That's what we're here for. So anybody want to share? And I'd invite somebody to please share, because ideally we have a few people sharing and we can hear other different, other artists' perspectives and what they're thinking. So anybody want to raise your hand, and I'll unmute you and you can share. Come on, be brave, be courageous. All right, Susanna, good. Let me figure out how to unmute. Okay, you should be able to unmute yourself now, I think. Asked to unmute, okay. There you go.
So can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you.
My cause is world peace.
World peace, okay.
World peace. I paint with love, and I paint what I love. I paint parts of nature, flowers, and animals. My intention is that when people look at my art, they will feel more peaceful and loving, as world peace starts within each of us. And when we feel peace or love, we are automatically more peaceful than when we feel stress or worry.
Beautiful. Yeah, that peace and love. That I think another way people would describe that is calming and regulating the nervous system so we're not in survival or defense or flight or fight mode, but we are calm and peaceful. And that is a beautiful intention. I honor that intention, and I'm right there with you. Who else is with Susanna on that goal of bringing calmness and peace to the world through our art? I love that. Thank you so much, Susanna. I appreciate the courage of sharing it. It is vulnerable for us to share things like that, so thank you. And I think it's very noble, honorable to pour your heart and soul into art and impact the world in that way, and I think it's very possible. So as we're moving forward, think about even more specifically, Susanna, an organization. World peace is a global cause and an intention, but think of organization specifically that is doing that and has a similar mission. And if you don't know of any, perhaps that might be good. Well, that'll be coming up in the steps that we'll be discussing later, is identifying organizations and how you find them. So I'll be sharing that with you. So it's okay if you don't know yet. Sarah, I saw your
Yeah,
hand go
I
up.
did go
Oh,
to a peace event, but they had a totally different idea about how to create peace in the world. It was all about protesting against everything, and that wasn't,
yeah,
they weren't putting out peaceful energy.
right, right. Yeah.
So,
And there's the place for that. And
so I thought
maybe
I'd found them, but I didn't.
yeah, it's all good. Maybe you'll be one of the people that actually creates that movement and that organization, because maybe it doesn't exist, and that is also an
Mm.
option. You know, if you can't find it, you create it, and there's steps to do that as well. So don't be discouraged that it's there, and you're on the right path to discovering how to do that more effectively. Go ahead and mute now if you haven't already. Actually, I'll just mute you here. And Sarah, you can go ahead now and yep, there you go. You're unmuted.
So I'm not sure which cause it is, like an official one, but what deeply matters to me is helping keep creativity and expression alive and thriving within humanity, especially among children, youth, and families. My art would serve this mission by creating experiences that inspire people to explore the creativity and unique gifts. It's important to me to not only help people reconnect with their creative expression, but also to help parents to understand the significance of nurturing it within their children. I would create interactive workshops, community experiences, and creative programs that encourage creativity, connection, and self-expression.
Beautiful. Yeah, that seems really nice and clear. And you already have ideas for products, and that's powerful. That's important. And there are actually tons of organizations that do that. And so I think you'll have an easier time perhaps than Susanna in finding build, like later you're going to be they'll be talking through the discovery process of finding organizations, and you're going to have a spreadsheet to start filling out with all their contact information and their cause and their mission, which is part of the outreach process. And so I think you're going to have a nice long one to choose from, and you'll be able to be selective and really feel into the movements and the people that are behind the movements that you'll be able to partner with. So wonderful. I love that. Anybody else want to share one? Okay. All right. Kelly, go for it. Don't forget to unmute.
Yeah,
There
thank you.
Mhm.
Thankfully, the little message pops up.
Yep.
The art that I do is with nature. For those of you that don't know, most likely Antonio knows, but I utilize the natural environment. So any shedding of leaves and lichen and those kinds of things, and I create art from that. So I co-create it with nature, and Nature Conservancy is one of those organizations that's really been important to me many years. And thank you really for this question, because I haven't thought about it to that degree, and it really it hit me hard actually in one moment when I was sitting with it. Because it's not only about protecting the land, but it's also the connecting of the tribal and indigenous people as well. So my work supports that story and the importance of preserving it. I mean, every little piece that I use in my work is a being. It's a living essence. It's an expression of God, and we are as well. And the other part to that, that Nature Conservancy also is continuing to try to engage us to reconnect back to nature, as many practices like mindfulness and other things do, as well. And the therapeutic point of that, but that's a separate that's a separate item. Focusing on this here is that my work could really also help educate people of these little beings that we live with, in addition to rediscovering and reconnecting back to our home, because nature is our home, but we have been separated from that, and the importance of protecting our home. And that's what got me. I just got choked up about it. So thank you for that
Good.
moment. I really didn't make that connection before until today. So,
Good.
so yeah, thank you.
Oh, I love that. Well, that's beautiful. And it's honestly, it's an alignment with Susanna's and Sarah's. Like what I'm seeing is that everybody's has a different facet of the same ultimate outcome is unity and connection and belonging and preservation of our planet and creative expression. Those are all things that are all woven together. And maybe what I'll discover is at the end of this that we're creating a new organization that's uniting all of our skills and abilities to do this. And I'm open to it. You know, this is similar in the sense that we were talking about the seed being planted and it doing its thing earlier in the chat prompt. And this is an example of it. It's like I created this event because I just want to share with you guys how I do it, and hopefully that you can do it for yourselves. And if you want my support in the future, I'm happy to walk alongside you. And then now I'm seeing this very clearly. It's like, wow, we are all actually working for the same thing. Maybe we should create the organization that we would want to partner with. So that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Kelly. So as I have shared that with you, it's caused you to think and reflect inward. I want an opportunity now for you guys to ask anything that came up through that. I really want to get to be here to support you, especially in the moment as you went through this exercise. I'm sure there might have been some questions that popped up. So let's spend a few minutes and I'll answer a few questions relative to your experience just now. If anything came up. And you can do the little raise hand button, or you can just wave like this and I'll click. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Kelly.
I think one of the questions is in relation to when you approach an organization, how you go about it. And then the other point of what if they don't align with you?
Yeah, that happens.
I don't know. I'm sure it happens. So
yes, it does.
I'm just curious on if you've had any of that experience, and if
I
you'd like
have
to
had
share.
that experience, and I've not connected with specific organizations because we were not aligned, and that is fine. One of the key factors that also touches on your first question is the energy that we carry. We have a tendency, because we've never been taught or we've never reached that point yet, of approaching partnerships, donations, outreach with this, can you please help me with this thing? And that's the worst possible energy to have, because you immediately upon first speaking, you set up that subconscious hierarchy. Oh, I'm here and this person's down here and they need something from me. Whereas the energy that I carry when I'm interacting with people is that I know humbly, but very confidently, that I have something very valuable and worth time, energy, and investment. And I'm actually choosing you from all these other people to share it with. And if you don't want it, or you're not aligned with it, then you don't get it. And when I talk to my kids about this, and I share this kind of concept with them as little ones, I say, pretend you have the most delicious watermelon in the world. And you got this big fat watermelon that's sliced in half, you got two halves, and you chop it up, and because you're a loving, kind person, you want to share it. And you walk up to somebody and you say, here, check this out. This is so good. You got to have some. And if they don't want it, are you butthurt about it? Are you sad? Do you take it personal? No, you're like, oh, okay, cool. That person wants it. And you take it over to them. And you keep eating your watermelon the whole time. You got watermelon juice dripping down your face, on your shirt, you're spitting the seeds out, and you're happily enjoying your watermelon because you have something really special and really delicious, and you want to share it. And you don't care if people don't want some of your watermelon, because there are many people that would love your watermelon. It's just not for them. And it's not personal, has nothing to do with the quality of your art, has nothing to do with your gift and what you're putting out there. It's just not for them. And that's fine. It shouldn't be for everyone, because then we'd be this, single perspective and we wouldn't have the diversity of perspectives that we have. So the energy that you start with cultivating internally is this energy of, I am worthy. Fundamentally, I am worthy, I am unique, I am special, and I've been given a gift that the majority of humanity does not have to the degree that I have. And that is special and valuable, and it's not something that is desperate. It's something that's here to serve. And it's challenging for us because we want to be humble, we want to be servants, and it's hard to embody that confidence. And it's possible because, honestly, this is a real question here. Do I come off as arrogant to any of you? Do I come off as like egotistical and arrogant? No, because I'm not personally. I know, but I also know that I have something very valuable, and I'm willing to share it. And I'm also willing to charge significantly for it. And that self-worth and that value that I have in myself is what sets the tone for the value that other people have in me and my work. So if you think you're not worthy, nobody else is going to think you're worthy, because it starts here. And so building up that worthiness, that self-validation, that confidence that you are unique, and be humble and bold with it, and say no. Say no to things that don't align, because you're not desperate, because you have something special. So that's when I go to approach, aside from the strategic, like actual step-by-step process, energetically, that's the most important, because I could give you the perfect process, the perfect script to pitch your project to an organization. But if you don't believe in yourself and you don't think you're worthy, they're not going to be interested. Or they're going to say yes, and they're going to take advantage of you because they can tell that they can just walk all over you, and you have no boundaries, you have no, you don't believe in yourself. So you're just like, sure, take advantage of me. And you don't want that. I hope that answers your questions. Any other questions? Anybody else curious about anything in this process or that's come up through the conversation? Yeah, Susanna, please unmute.
Yeah, so you're talking about approaching an organization and asking them for what exactly?
We'll get into that. I'm actually next, after this little Q&A part, I'm going to walk you through that process. But essentially, it's simply saying, I want to support your organization with this thing that I've created. And if there's any other, if there are any other questions, because I'll just transition right into this next section where we start. Okay, let me go ahead and ask or answer Sarah's question, and then we'll actually directly respond to yours. Okay, Susanna? Sarah?
Yes. So I think sometimes, I don't know if it's just like a belief or what I've experienced in the world so far, is often as I'm kind of newer to sharing my art and that expression that way, I notice sometimes it's about like how much money you have or how many followers you have. But if I'm newer to putting it out there, and I know the meaning and the impact and the profoundness of what I feel and have experienced with individuals I've shared it with. So I think it's being taken seriously by organizations where they're not viewing by what you currently have or own or followers, or that, I'm a female and look younger than I am, like all those kinds of things, like to be taken like seriously.
Mm-hmm. So what's the direct question? How to be taken more seriously?
I guess like since I'm newer, are like in your experience, are organizations open to like hearing and seeing what I have to offer
Yes.
without it being about like, oh, how much money you have or how many followers
Yes.
you have?
Yes, definitely. And it comes down to the way you have presented yourself from the very initial touch point. And even before that, like, what are you pointing them to when you say, for example, an example of an outreach email that I'll send to an organization I have no connection with is, hey, my name is Antonio. I'm an impact artist, and I really love what your organization is doing. I'm creating an event, and I wondered if you would be interested in being a beneficiary. please let me know. Here's my calendar link. Here's my website. That's it. That's short and sweet. And they're like, somebody has an event that they're creating and we could benefit from it. I'll respond to that. And then ideally you have a calendar link where they could just book a call with you, a discovery call or a video call, and they'll do that and they'll pop up. And in that questionnaire or in that link, they have to answer a couple questions like, what's your organization? What do you want to talk about? What brought you to the call? Stuff like that. And then the other information that's on there, the website, the social media, whatever, you've actually curated what they're seeing in a way that establishes your credibility, that doesn't rely on how many followers you have or how much money you have. Because you're going in with an offering to help them freely. At this point, all they see is that somebody wants to essentially donate money for us through this event that they're creating. Let's see who they are. Oh, wow, she's a singer, she's an artist, she has beautiful work. I'd like to call her and book this call. That's the first step. So in that process, there's no space for them to judge you based on your financial status or your followers, because that's irrelevant at this point. So from that standpoint, yes, they will respond. And I'd say that specific email template that I have sent out has given me roughly an 80% booked call rate. And that is huge. Usually you're looking at 20%, but that specific one, given I have a very crystal clear event in mind, it's the curiosity and connection. So transitioning into this strategic walkthrough component, I'll give you the example of what I want to walk you guys through for the next half hour. So using your specific projects, your specific art. So I'm a musician, performer, composer. How can I serve with that? I thought, well, I can do benefit concerts. Cool, I can do that. I can do it by myself because I can play solo. And I can sell tickets, and I can maybe invite another artist to donate some art for a silent auction. I can fill a room with 50 people, 40 people. If I sell tickets for $20 a ticket, 20 times 40, $800 in ticket sales. Cool, I could probably get a venue to donate the space. So all of these things came up for me, and I then put it on paper and I gave it a name, and I made it very, very tangible and easy to understand as a product. So when that person calls, I then say, hi, I'm Antonio, and I have this idea. I've created an event called Curiosity and Connection by Candlelight. The event is this: candlelight setting, contemporary classical piano, original pieces, storytelling that opens people's hearts to curiosity, and how curiosity has led me to the deepest connections in my life. And I want to share that with an audience and point that towards your organization's mission, because I love what you are doing so much, and it's so in alignment with what I believe in that I just want my gifts to be in support of what you're doing. Are you guys open to collaborating and partnering on something like that? They'll probably have questions, who pays for what, or how do we do it? And in the product development phase of your offer, of the thing that you're presenting to these organizations, you already have all that stuff decided out. Again, in the 5 steps that we're going to talk through, that's a key component in building your product. And I'm going to keep using the word product because it could be, for Susanna, for you, it could be an exhibition of paintings that all connects people to nature and to the earth. And perhaps you tell stories, or you partner with a local storyteller to tell stories of humans' interaction and connection with the earth, and or indigenous voices and perspectives. Somehow you build this gallery exhibition, which does have maybe a $10 or $15 ticket fee, and maybe there's some snacks, and you partner with this organization. They have representatives there. You are strategically partnering your art with an organization. They're excited because they didn't have to do anything. They just got this beautiful event that they couldn't imagine themselves because they're not artists. They're executives on a board, and gala creators, and they're it's all logistics and numbers and line items and spreadsheets, and we're come in with this beautiful artistic expression that they, the majority of time, have no idea. And when they hear these ideas, they're just like, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? That is wonderful. Yes, let's do this. And then it's a matter of the agreement and how you're, is it 50-50 split? Is it who's doing what? Am I creating the promotional material? Are you guaranteeing 40 additional people in the audience? And I have a way that I've structured it to where essentially either they hire me to come to an event that they have existing, and I bring what I bring and insert it into their template. For example, the gala at the Good Life Refuge in Denver that I did a couple weeks ago. They had this event and it was going to be a circus and they were going to have performers. And then the executive director found me. I pitched my thing to their team. They said, holy crap, this is way better than a circus. We're going to clear the slate and we're going to actually build our whole event around your performance and storytelling as the centerpiece. And everything will be pointed into this candlelit experience and dinners together and communing. And it shifted everything. And we essentially, I think we brought in just on the paddle raise was an additional 12,000. I think they made a total of 30,000 or 30,000 more than they did last year. And so they were stoked. They're like, please come back. Please help us build the next one. And so now I have a long-term relationship with this organization who wants me back every year. And I'm going to be consulting with them and helping them develop other partnerships and things in their mission, along with their mission. So I don't necessarily expect all of you guys to have that capacity to think and do strategic consulting for an organization. That's not the point. That's just one of my gifts. But what my point is for you is that once you have that package and that product, and it's you, and you can articulate it clearly, and you see the impact that it's going to have, it's easy for you to share it. So let's see. Kelly, I wanna maybe build from your vision right now. So, thinking of a product, what would be a potential product that you could use to partner with an organization?
I was thinking about just like doing a narrative display of like a story of
Featuring
my
your art?
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like just a story, creating a story. I don't have that yet, but I have enough pieces that I could probably pull and make a narrative out of it.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Okay, so then the product, so build more upon it. I want to also, through this process, empower you to come up with your own ideas. I don't want to just say,
Yep.
this
No,
is what you
I'm
should
good.
do. So you have these pieces. What is next? That's part of the product. That's part of it. It's just the essence of it. What else is it? What else is it in outdoors? Is it in nature? Is it in a venue?
Well,
Is it in a
yeah,
gallery?
it would be all through nature, and it would be a lot of what is coming to me is it's kind of a brainstorm out mouth
Yeah,
here. So,
yeah.
um, would be, the different maybe narrative of different places in your life, different emotions, and being in nature. Like you're climbing a mountain, you're crying, you're in the middle of a windstorm. So the narrative would basically walk you through, and in every point, you are in nature expressing these emotions. Nature is there holding you in the process, getting you through, being your support when you are alone and you're out navigating through your life up and down, happy, glorious, and even the magical part of nature and how it can bring that forward, and you can see things that you didn't know were there, and a whole different, I'm just yeah
Yeah, you're brainstorming. Yeah,
yeah,
that's what this is for.
brainstorming. But that's what I see, because that connects the human essence to the nature
Mm-hmm.
and brings it into the oneness, and how, we are connected with nature. Nature is connected to us, and trying to keep that in a very, not a bridge, but together as a oneness,
Mm-hmm.
and how we live and navigate life together. So
Mm-hmm.
something to that effect.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's it. You have this, so keep developing that vision. So in my process, my thought process, the next step is, okay, I need to identify locations. So that way, when I talk to an organization, I have this park or this trailhead or whatever, I have it clear. And I've even actually confirmed that I could use that space for a, event of some sort. And I've thought through the logistics, like, okay, so I'll probably need a van to bring all my art. I'll need a bunch of easels to put up my art. I'll need to think through the path and the impact on the land there. And is it going to be, is it just a natural space? Do we need to be careful that people aren't stepping on bushes? Are there bees nearby?
Yeah.
You're thinking about the nuanced things, especially because it is nature-based. You're thinking about the impact on the land and the impact on the people at the same time. And so as you develop that more fully, you take that, and often for me, it's a brain dump, and I will do voice to text, and I'll just talk to my computer. And then I'll take that expression, which is just a jumbled mess of words, and I'll copy and paste it into Claude or ChatGPT or something. And I'll say, organize this for me into bullet points and key points, which is really helpful because it can take my messy brain dump and distill it down into something that's I can actually digest and pick apart. And then I take that and then I start working from that. So I use AI to help translate and distill down my ideas. And then I put it aside and I use that as my, okay, circle this, highlight this, copy and paste that into this. And then I have a framework of what my product is. And then with that product, alongside the building of it, we are then looking at these nonprofits that value human interaction with nature. So you have a list and you start thinking about and rehearsing how you're going to share it. You do video recordings of yourself talking about your project. And it's important. It's awkward at first. It's really weird to be talking to a camera and pretending somebody's there, but it is so valuable. And I do it all the time. And my kids think I'm weird. Like, Dad, are you talking to somebody? I'm like, no, I'm talking to myself. Like, you're so weird. Come outside and play. Like, okay, I'll go play. And then I'll come back and, I'm back in front of my phone or my computer. And I'm just like, so I have this idea, this vision, and I get used to talking to somebody that's not there. Then when somebody's actually there, it's just, oh man, now I got feedback and visual body language and facial expressions and words that help me then navigate, because now I'm sensing what they're responding to well, and I'll maybe go down this little path about this facet of the program or the event because I could tell that they're more leaning towards that or this direction. And in the steps, the 5 steps that I'm going to share with you, that's part of it that we'll go through in a couple minutes. So then you have this clear offer and you've crafted yourself a pitch. That pitch being, how am I going to present it? You've also have confidence because you've practiced and you're comfortable. Like I said, this whole process isn't easy. It's doable, but it is filled with moments of discomfort, and that's what we need to grow. So this is an example of a moment of discomfort. You mean I have to sit in front of the camera and talk to myself, and I have to be able to sell myself to somebody? Ew, I don't like that. Well, too bad. If you want to do this and you want to have an impact, you need to be able to do that. And of course, I'm here to help you through that. And I have all kinds of meditations and all kinds of journal prompts and things to help you pull that out of yourself, because you have the ability to do it. It's just maybe you never have, and that's okay. So once you've gotten comfortable with that, that's when you start doing the cold outreach. You're like, hey, this is who I am. I have something that you guys want. If you'd like to talk, I'm here. If not, next. And it's a numbers game. It's averages. It's for every 10 organizations, you'll probably solidly get 2, maybe 1 or 2 good, solid conversations. From those 1 or 2, one of them might bite and may see your vision. And so it's really a matter of, like, you need 50. Have 50 organizations that you've reached out to. And from that, you're guaranteed 2 or 3. I think it's very, very possible that you'd have 2 or 3 partnerships come from those 50 if you've done all the necessary steps, you're confident, your package is really easy to digest, your product is like a no-brainer. It's like, duh, I see that, and of course we want to get involved. And that's the key, is that you're using your creativity to create something that's maybe not painting or music, but it's using that same creative energy, which you're blessed with, in a way that you haven't yet, and creating a product of value for a movement. And that's really valuable for these organizations, because like I said, they have no idea how to do this. They're not artists. They're beautiful people with a big heart that want to serve the world and are great at accounting or administrative stuff. And they love art, but they can't create it the way we can. So we're very needed. So after those partnerships have been established, you start really refining the details. What does this partnership look like? And you make an agreement. I don't like to say contract because it's just kind of I don't know. To me, it's really just an agreement. We're not binding each other to anything. We're saying, I agree that I'm going to do this, and you agree you're going to do that. And we're signing it to say we agree. And so it's an agreement, and it helps each person, each party hold each other accountable for. It helps you articulate very clearly what your boundaries are, which are huge. You need to have solid boundaries, or else it's not sustainable. You're very clear on what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. They're clear on what they need to do. You've talked through all these things. Who's doing social media posts? Are we collaborating? Am I posting on mine and then tagging you? All these little details that make everything clear and take unnecessary weight and distraction off of your plate so that you can just be present and, share your gift. At that point, it's a matter of executing the event or the exhibition or the thing, whatever the product is, and making it happen. And a very important part is making sure that it's documented in the sense of the bare minimum. You have your best friend walking around with an iPhone, filming stuff and asking people questions about what it feels like for them. On a higher level, you have budgeted in with the organization $5,000 to cover a professional production team to come in and actually create a video showcasing the event, and it's connected with the local news network or this podcast or this other network, and you're high level creating content that other people are going to distribute, showing you in action. Fundamentally, the bottom line is you want proof, because this one event that you do becomes the proof of concept and the proof of your ability to do this, which becomes a valuable asset when you're doing outreach for other organizations. You say, well, yeah, I've done this before. Here's a little 2-minute video showcasing it. And they see you shining bright. They see the audience smiling. And then you have a testimony from the executive director that says, oh my gosh, Sarah, Kelly, and Susanna's, art was just so impactful. And, Eric's music was just this beautiful bed of support. And we raised so much money and touched so many hearts and reached a new audience. I would love to partner with them again. Well, if you get an executive director saying that and you show that to any other nonprofit, you're good. You're in. There's no reason that executive would not jump on board. And I have a lot of those, thank goodness. I have tons of those testimonials. So it's easy for me now. I often don't even have to pitch. I just show, like, hey, I got this project, check it out if you guys want to be partnered. And then they're calling me and I'm like, okay, I'm going to vet you now. I'm going to make sure that you guys are going to be able to meet me at the level of care and heart that I'm bringing. And if not, it's okay. I'll point you to some other people that might work with you, but hopefully so. And then we move forward. So that in a nutshell is how it flows and the process. Heidi, you have a question? Go ahead and unmute.
Yeah, it wasn't so much a question, it just an echo. That I think oftentimes, I think you and I have both experienced this, where we might approach a nonprofit, and because they are a nonprofit, their budget isn't what maybe a for profit organization would be. And so they tend to lowball us, or we tend to lowball ourselves because we think that they can't afford us. And I think it's just wanted to echo that when we approach, whether we're small or not, knowing our value, and you can even put this in the chat, like what would this cost, this service cost this organization or what have you. And you can really come to the table with not only confidence, but value, and knowing what you're offering and your return on your investment. Because once we start, if we undersell ourselves, that's just going to continue to bring on more opportunities to underserve ourselves or undersell ourselves. So, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Very valid. Thank you for that, Heidi. It's really accurate. That self-worth piece that we were mentioning earlier, that's fundamental to all this. I could share a personal experience with that Good Life Refuge. They came back to me and they said, we'd love to work with you, but you're out of our budget. And my response could have been, oh shit, I lost it. Dang. Okay, well maybe I'll bring my price down. So what instead, the energy was like, okay, I really like this organization. I want to support them. So in my mind, we're on the same team already because we've already made it past the discovery call. They're really interested. They want to work with me. So at that point, I energetically feel like they're on my team. And so as a team member, I respond from that perspective. I say, hey team, what do we need to do to make this work? So now the switch is not, well, can you please work with me anyway? It's not like, well, okay, I'll do it less. Yeah, I understand. No, we're not under, no, I came in with, hey, let's reconvene and let's together as a team find a way to make this work because we both want it. We're both intelligent. We can make this work somehow. I didn't know what that way would be, but I invited them to work with me on finding a solution. And then we had a conversation. And through that conversation, we found ways where they could redirect budget that was going to things that were less valuable for the outcome and direct it towards my fee, as well as, hey, what about, I know you guys are hiring an MC to do, other parts in the event. What if I just did it all and I saved you that money and you redirected it towards my fee? And they said, that's it. We switched this thing. We got rid of the MC. We'll have you do it. Now you're on stage the whole time, which makes sense. I don't know, why would we have somebody else up there? You're telling stories and then you go right into the paddle race and you connect with the audience and they're already connected with you. So it was a no-brainer. And I approached what Heidi was saying as people saying, well, I can't afford you. And then we have bleeding hearts because we're loving people. We're like, okay, I'll do it for half of my price, which isn't sustainable because you spent all that time and money on energy and on resources, on materials, your years of experience that only you have, your sleepless nights. You need to be paid for that. And there's nothing wrong with being paid for it. And so I then approached and said, hey, let's figure this out. We collectively, as a team, found a solution. I got my full rate. I'm happy, they're happy. The event was a huge success. That was only possible because I believed so deeply in what I'm bringing to the table and the value of it. And it takes time to get there. You have to try it and do it. So maybe you do some freebies, some lower budget ones. You don't start at, $5,000 for your presence at this event. You start at a lower budget that maybe just covers your costs and you're explicitly saying, I'm doing this as a donation. This is well below what I would charge, but because I want to help, I'm going to do this. And it's a choice you make intentionally for reasons that you have that are valid. So I'm going to switch over to the 5 steps, which is kind of a review. I was using Kelly's example as a kind of a thought process so you could see what it looks like when applied to an artist. But essentially, the 5 steps are, and don't worry, I'm going to send this to you after this. So the first thing is, what is your specific offering? You have to be concrete about what you're actually bringing to the organization. So step 1, like what we did with Kelly, is what's your product? Okay, what does it look? Is it an event? Is it a donation, a series of pieces? Is it, for me, it's often that event plus donated photography, plus donated music discs and vinyl that they can auction off, plus my presence on stage and my performance, plus consulting and saying, sorry, I got distracted by a chat thing. I'll read that in a second. Plus bringing in my support in strategic consulting and helping them come up with other ideas. So being an artist in service of them in idea generation, which is really helpful. Sometimes just your presence there as an artist inspires them to come up with ideas they wouldn't have thought of. So I have a bunch of different offerings and products that I bring to the table. It's taken me 20 years to develop them all. And it wasn't until maybe about 4 to 6 months ago that I realized, I was like, wow, I've actually done this really well and I want to share it with people. So your product, step 1 is a really clear product. Step 2, who are the organizations? The first step in step 2 is identifying who's in your network already. I guarantee you that there's a person that you know that's connected to a nonprofit. And so that's your first 10 on your list. And on that list, you have the name of the organization, you have the name of the contact person, you have their website, you have their mission statement, and you have an idea of how you could support them. And so you have like these 5 or 6 columns on a spreadsheet, and you populate it. And you just build that. And the top, 10 or whatever are friends of friends, or friends that have connections in volunteer organizations. The key is that they're all aligned with what your intention and your mission is. So perhaps you do have a couple friends that work in nonprofits that don't align, like for nature, maybe your friend works with helping ex-convicts transition into society. That's kind of a gap there. So you wouldn't maybe put that one on your list. But you want to be really clear and be very specific on who's on your list, because remember, you're choosing who you're going to serve, not you're begging that hopefully one of these organizations will accept you. You're not doing that. You're being very clear and specific. So you build out that list. Then with your product and with that list, you start practicing and developing your pitch. You say it out loud and you refine it. You build that presentation through video, through audio recording. When you're driving, if you got a long commute somewhere, voice record and just pretend you're on a call. Hey, Sally, thanks for reaching out. This is me. I'm really excited to partner with you guys. This is my idea. And then do it on your drive. That's that easy. You just start riffing and getting comfortable speaking your pitch out loud. Rehearsing your pitch is vital. You sound way more professional when you have a rehearsed pitch. And it doesn't have to be like memorized word for word. It's key bullet points and a structure. There's a structure to how you pitch, and I can help you with that, in the future if that's something you want. And I'll give a little bit of insight on the document that I'll be sending out later. So solid, strong pitch that's well rehearsed, and you're ready to present it. And then, who are you reaching out to first and when? Make it specific. Name a date, name a timeline. Like, okay, first, every Monday, I'm going to allocate an hour each week where I'm going to focus only on this project, my pitch and my partnerships. I have 4 hours a week that are allocated in my schedule to specifically this, nothing else. I can't play piano. I can't, go for a hike from this time to this time. For 1 hour a day, 4 days a week, or in any other configuration. I'm locked in, and I'm either doing research and discovering other organizations, or I'm refining a pitch that's going to a specific organization, because maybe the way I would speak to the organization for Christian single mothers versus the Center for Spiritual Living and Universal Connection to the Cosmos. Those two are two different groups that will benefit from the exact same product, but I'm going to pitch it to them in different ways. I'm going to use Christian terminology when I'm speaking to the Christian organization for obvious reasons. And with the Universal Cosmos organization, I'll use a lot more free kind of maybe new age terminology. And so I'm spending time practicing my pitch based on who I'm speaking to. I'm learning the different languages. Additionally, I'm maybe tightening it up. I'm looking at, that last event I did, I got a couple of notes of feedback that maybe instead of going from that story that I told into music, then to the paddle race, that maybe I should go straight from the story to the paddle race. So then I'll rehearse my storytelling and I'll feel that. And so there's a lot of things I can do to serve this objective in 4 hours a week. So it doesn't have to take your whole day. It just deserves dedicated time and space. And then what does that partnership look like when it's real? You've got the yes. You've pitched them. They love it. You're really thinking through, what does this look like in detail? And you're drafting up an agreement from your side. What am I agreeing to? What am I willing to do? What are my strong suits? What should I not be doing? You know, maybe you should not be creating social media posts because you can't stand being on your phone. Well, then be clear about that and don't offer it, and don't allow them to say, so you're going to post 4 times a week, right? Say, no, actually I'm not going to do that, but I will send you photographs of my paintings that you can use in social media. I will send you some quotes that you can use in your captions, and you rely on what you're good at, what you have, and not promise something you can't deliver, because what you want to always do is under promise and over deliver. It's better to say, like, I can only do this, and then you show up and you do 10 times more. They're just like blown away, than promising you're going to do this, 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 and this, but you can only do 2 of those things well. So you're walking yourself through that agreement. You're looking through all the details. At that point, you're ready and you move forward. You have the event, you document it, you capture all that material. You either have a high school or college intern helping you edit it, putting it together for Instagram or Facebook Reels or whatever, and or videos for your website. You're documenting it on your website. You're getting testimonials from the people. You're putting those quotations on your website saying, you know, it was such a joy to work with Eric. He brought just such a high level of energy and passion, and we are looking forward to partner with him again. You put that quote, you know, signed Executive Director Tom or whatever. So that's this quick summary of how it all works. And again, I'm going to follow up with you guys and have you respond to a question here before we go. And you're going to email me the response. And at that point, I'll take a little time for each of your responses to customize the document to serve directly what you're doing, because it might be a little bit different for Eric than it would be for you, Susanna, or for you, Kelly. And so I'm going to take a little time to craft those for you. So yeah, that's basically the overview. Any questions on any of that? Does it all make sense to you? Yeah, do you see how it works? Who here thinks they can do that? Yeah, who here thinks, like, I don't know, that's really uncomfortable? Susanna, yeah, and it's okay. Good, thank you for having the courage to say that. When we follow up, I want you to tell me more about that so that I can offer a little more insight to where you're at right now. And it's okay to feel that way. This is new to many people, and especially us artists. This isn't something we're taught ever. We're creative and just often isolated and often in our own little bubble of creativity and vulnerable. So it's completely okay to feel what you're feeling. And I'm glad, because that's a great starting point. You know, the fact that you're here is that first step. So I applaud you for that. Okay, so something important. Let's take a deep breath real quick. It's a lot of information that came out just now. I just dumped out a lot. So let's let it settle and just... As artists, we know we need silence and space for creativity to land. Close your eyes for a second and put your hand on your heart, and let all the ideas, the inspiration, all those things just land and settle. Art has always been at the heart of every movement. It says what words cannot say, and it makes people lean in. And as artists, we have a unique gift that not everyone has. And in my opinion, it's our responsibility to wield that gift in service of the world we want to see. And to do that while being fully honored for our time, for our skill, and for the years that we've given to our craft. Believe that for yourself. You are worthy of being honored for all the love, energy, time, care struggle, sacrifice that has gone in to getting you to the level of creative expression that you are. You are worthy of being honored for that. With money. Money's not a problem. Invite it. It's what's going to let you get more supplies. It's what's going to get you feeling alive and connected. It's going to let you donate to the organizations. It's going to put food in your fridge. Invite it and don't be scared of it and don't push it away, because it's not the root of all evil. It's the love and misuse of money that's the root of it. Because really, money is just energy, and we need energy. And we can exchange it, and we give it out, and we receive it. It's just a form of energy. Okay, so I'm going to send you all an email tonight. And in that email, I'm going to ask you a few questions. I'm going to ask you to tell me what landed most for you, what shifted, what you're thinking about doing. And when you reply, I'll send you the 5 steps so you've got them to work with, customized for each of your responses. And at that point, should you wish to have more support, just follow up with me. I support individual artists on their journey and take this framework and extend it over 6 months with tangible products developed together. So that's available for anybody that wants to go deeper. Otherwise, take these steps and run with them, and feel free to just reach out. Once you have them and you're sitting with them and you start using them, shoot me an email, send me a message and let me know where you're at. If you're stuck and you have a question, how can I do this? Or if you want me to read your pitch, or if you want to run your product by me, and I'll just give you honest reflections, and I'm happy to do so, because I believe in all of you. I believe in what you're bringing to the table. I believe that the world needs it. And I believe that you should be honored for it, because it's a beautiful gift that you're bringing to the table, and you're worth it. You're worthy of it. Your heart, your energy, your craft, your creativity is worth investing in for yourself, to invest in it for yourself, which many of you have already with all your materials, but also for others to invest in, because the world needs us. Every movement has that slogan, has that hasta la victoria siempre, there's always art that's connected to the changing of the world. That's us. We're the ones that get to do that. So let's celebrate that. Okay, if there's no more questions, that's going to be the close for this session. Any questions? Any last thoughts, comments? Okay, everybody.
Thank you.
For joining me. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for being
was
here.
beautiful.
Thank you for investing in yourselves. And bless you all. And